So when you're buying a house, you always have to plan for the unexpected, and you got to plan for kind of those curveballs that come through and you know, kind of throw a wrinkle in your budget. And there's some unexpected hidden costs, you know, kind of variable costs, so to speak, with buying a home. Some of those happen before you actually buy the house. You know, due diligence, home inspection, right, Robert? We see, you know, every buyer we recommend doing a home inspection, and the buyer incurs that costs, no matter if they buy the home or not. They're paying that money up front.
And it can get pretty pricey once you talk about the square footage of the home. A lot of times, if you're doing a wind mitigation inspection, a pool inspection, I mean, they can get up there to, I mean, if you're doing a whole bunch, almost $1,000 for a good inspection. So
yeah, and so the due diligence that's on the buyer. The home inspection, you know, there's sometimes a home inspector recommends a more specialized inspection. Like they go out to inspect the pool and they're like, you know what, you really need a pool company to inspect this. Or, you know what, I can't make a decision on the roof. You need a roofer to look at the roof. And so he's right. You know, that's money that's out of the buyer's pocket, whether they buy that house or not. That's part of their due diligence. And, you know, some of the other costs are, you know, more or less only dictated if they close on the house. However, insurance is one of those that can be a little tricky because they can, you know, sometimes you have someone binding or paying for the insurance prior to closing. The closing could fall through and then gets a little tricky. But you know, the hidden costs with insurance are the variable, so to speak. It's, I think, hard for people to understand because they're used to you know, simple explanations like my house is the same as the house across the street. Why is their insurance different than mine? And it's complicated because the coverages you pick, because of the elevation of the house, because of the age, because the age of the roof, what's maintained, what's not maintained. And let's face it, there's a variety of different carriers that like and don't like different types of properties, so they offer different rates based on their track record.
Yeah,
you know,
just like people do, you know, different risk tolerances that certain insurance companies are willing to take on.
And it's funny, like Robert, I'll ask you this kind of on the spot. I'm sure you've had it before. How many buyers have you said, Robert, what do you think the insurance is going to be on this house?
a lot, actually. My in-laws are under contract for a house near us, and they asked me the same thing the other day.
Yes.
So, and same thing with taxes, actually. So
Yeah.
taxes are just like that. I mean, depending on how long a neighbor has been in the house, or how long, you know, if they're homesteading or doing Save Our Homes or whatever, if you purchase, you know, your taxes are going to be a lot different. So taxes and insurance, those things can vary definitely from house to house.
When we started our insurance agency, we insure TampaBay.com. I'll give a quick little plug there. When Angela started our insurance agency, I think that one of the things for us was really helping people understand that process, because I think it's confusing for people. I think that they think there is some sort of simple math that will tell you what an insurance is going to be, and it is so variable that it's, I mean, you can have multiple carriers quote the same house and be 3 or 4 times each other.
Yes.
You can have the same house with different deductibles. You can have the same house be valued differently by carriers. It really does depend, and it's why, you know, we really love the, you know, the insurance brokerage model, because Angela and Brittany can go and search all the different carriers to find the right option. Whereas if you go to one company, they're going to say, here you go, this is what you get. When you go to a brokerage, they have, you know, 200 carriers, and they can go around and kind of start, you know, shopping around to find you the best deal possible with good coverage, and it's definitely misleading for customers. They think that they go to bankrate.com and they type in a number, and they think that that number that gets spit out, that they know what they're talking about. The taxes, insurance, they told that website, that calculator told me that that's what what it's going to be, and it's wrong. It's so wrong.
Especially in Florida, insurance is a lot more expensive than other states because of all the stuff that can happen here. So I think that a lot of those calculators are very incorrect on the low end usually.
Oh yeah, and because there's also so many variables, it's up to the customer what kind of coverage they want. Does the house need flood? Does it not need flood? Is it built in 1920? Is it built in 2010? There's so many variables that a property address and a price just can't factor in. And I'll get customers be like, oh, can you ballpark it? No, it's impossible. Like, you cannot ballpark insurance.
We see all the time too, flood can range so widely based on the flood zone that it's in.
Yep.
And then also based on the elevation of the house. So lots of times we're recommending getting an elevation certificate, because it could cut your flood insurance in half if you're sat up a little bit higher from sea level than if you aren't. And depending on the flood zone, and those are always, FEMA's remapping them and rechanging them and everything else. So You really gotta get up-to-date information and
Yeah.
talk to Angela or Brittany at We Insure Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and closing costs are another one that are kind of unexpected. I think a lot of customers don't understand that it does vary from lender, to product, to house. I mean, every house is gonna be different, because your closing costs also factor in your insurance and taxes, in most situations. So those variable numbers, it's gonna depend, your closing costs, I've heard agents make the mistake of saying, oh, your closing costs are gonna be somewhere around 3%.
Right.
And then it comes back and it's 4.2. And then that customer's mad because they feel like the agent lied to them, when in fact the agent just simply said something they shouldn't have said. But the reality is there's a lot of variables. Repairs are another one, maintenance. A lot of people that rent aren't expected for the costs and the time and the energy to maintain and repair a home. And so it's why we always recommend people having some reserves, and why a lot of lenders require a certain amount of reserves, because they don't want someone to buy a house and then get stuck not being able to afford maintaining it.
Yeah, and some people wanna buy as much house as they can, they put all the money in with the down payment and don't take into account for any of these added costs, and, then they get in and, they're regretting their decision because they can't do what they need to do.
Yep, no question. We're gonna be back continuing this conversation after a quick break.